This is the 9th video of the series. We are learning JavaScript, and this series is for absolute beginners. So if you are a beginner in JavaScript, it is highly recommended that you watch all the videos, and all the videos are available from our website. All the codes are available, and what it is simply a calculator, and this is a good learning practice for absolute beginners. And it has 5 input fields. When you type values in one of the fields or any of the fields, it shows a total in this field, and it is interactive. When you change a value, the total changes automatically. You don't have to press enter or anything. So the application is almost complete. The only problem is that when you press enter, the cursor does not move into the next field. You have to click into the next field, or you have to press tab to move into the next field, which is not the ideal situation. What we want to do in this lesson, we want to learn how to move cursor from one field to another field with the help of JavaScript. So I'll change the size of this window, and this is my index 8 HTML document. I'll open it up with Sublime Text Editor, and this is our code. So if you notice, the code is getting bigger and bigger for the beginners, and it can be confusing. So what I have decided to do is to close this document. I'll create a new document, new file, and I will save it as movecursor.html document. I will close this, and this is the movecursor document, HTML document. If I open it up, it is just a blank document, and it is a blank document in the text editor as well. So first thing first, HTML tag. This is the basic HTML document. I will remove this in an effort to keep things very simple, so you don't get confused, and I will work within the body elements. So I will create a div element, an opening div tag and a closing div tag, and within this div element, within these two div tags, I will create an input element as a child element of this div element. Type will be text, and instead of name, I just want an ID, and the ID will be first for this input element. I will save it now, refresh it, and you can see there's an input field with an ID of first. I'll make another 5 copies, Control C and Control V 4 times. So there are total 5 copies. If I save it now, refresh it, you can see 5 copies. 2 issues: one, that all the input fields are way close to each other and all of them have same ID. So first of all, I'll have to change the IDs. To move them apart, I will create a style tag, an opening one and a closing one, an opening style tag and a closing style tag. I will target all my div elements, and I will say padding just 5 pixels. Save it, refresh it, and you can see there's a gap of 5 pixels between each input element. Now we have to start. Now if you click here, and if you press enter, the cursor does not move into the next field as expected, and this is what we are going to learn in this video, how to move cursor from one input field to another input field. So JavaScript, a script tag, again trying to keep the code to very minimum, an opening script tag and a closing script tag, and both these are within the body tags, the body element. I'll create a variable and I'll name it move cursor, which will be equal to document.querySelector all. So this is a method in JavaScript, and with the help of this method you can target a number of elements, and in this case I will simply target all the input elements. So this variable holds 5 values at the moment. If I say alert and move cursor, if you save it and refresh it, you'll see the variable move cursor is an object node list. It is something very similar to an array. An array simply is a variable that can hold more than one value. So if I comment it out and I say alert and I say move cursor and I use the length property, save it, refresh this, you should see a value of 5 here. Okay, so it holds 5 input values. And you can also say alert object.keys and the variable, and it will save it and it will show you the values just as an array does. So this is the index 0 which has this element, this is index 1 which has this element, index 2 has this element, index 3 has the 4th element, and index 4 has the 5th element. If I make another copy, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, if I save it now, refresh it, it should show me 6 values. And if I uncomment this, save it, you should see a value of 6, a total count of 6 for 6 input fields and 6 indices. 6 different values have been saved in this variable. So I'll remove all these. The next thing, I will create a for loop. For that you have to type in the for keyword, an opening bracket and a closing bracket, define a variable I with the initial value of 0, so what we have simply done now, we have created a for loop. We have created a variable and the name of the variable is I, the initial value of I is 0, and we are saying that run this loop until this value is reached. So move cursor dot length we just checked was equal to 6. The loop will run 5 times, and every time the loop runs, add 1 to the value of I. So the first time loop runs, the initial value was 0, it will become 1. The next time loop runs, the value was 1 this time, it will become 2. The loop will keep running until the value becomes 5, and then the loop will stop. Let me type the rest of the code and I will explain it later on. So what I've done here now, I've created a for loop. The loop will run until it reaches this value, which is 6 in this case, 6 elements, and it has to be less than 6, so it will run 5 times. This is a variable called I, the initial value is 0. So the next thing, I am adding an event listener, and it will listen to the event key up. Key up is a keystroke on the keyboard when a key is pressed and you let go. So this is an anonymous function, and I'm adding an event object, and I'm telling the browser that if the event key code is 13, the 13 is the ASCII code of enter or return key, then the keyword this refers to this value. which will be the first one in parent element dot next element sibling query selector input and focus. So parent element and next element sibling. So these are the daughter, all div elements are the daughter elements of this body element, and all these are sibling of each other. So this parent element have 6 child elements and all these children are sibling. What we are telling, that find the parent element, which is this in this case, and the next element sibling, select the input field and bring focus to that element. When I click in this element, this element is focus, and when I press enter, the focus is changed. It goes to the next input element, and when I press enter, it goes to the next field, and so on and so forth. So this is how you move cursor from one element to the next element, and I hope you learned something today, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much.